Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Dr. Saif Ullah, and I welcome you to this video. In this video, we will discuss about how we can compute the net present value of a project by using Microsoft Excel. The net present value is the difference between the present value of cash flows and the present value of cash outflows over a period of time. In Microsoft Excel, we have different functions to compute the net present value of a cash. These are PV, NPV, and Xnpv. In this video, I will explain that which option will be used on which type of data. Let's suppose we have a project that requires $500 initial investment and it will be invested on 1st January 2018, and after that it will provide $200 cash inflows for the next 4 years and on yearly basis. Discount rate is 10%. We have to calculate its present values and net present values by using different ways, and then after that we will conclude our working by providing some recommendation. Firstly, we will calculate the present value and net present value by using a manual calculations, and after that we will use Microsoft Excel functions to calculate the present value of this product. We will use these two functions to calculate the present value and net present value. Present value is equal to cash flows divided by 1 plus I raised to power n. N is the number of years and I is the interest rate, whereas cash flows are the cash inflows that we have received during the years. And net present value is basically the initial investment plus the present value of cash flows. In this formula, we actually calculate the difference, as the initial investment is in negative form and the present values of cash flows are in positive form. So it actually calculates the difference between initial investment and the present value of cash flows. The initial investment will remain same as it is invested on 0 time period. After that, 200 divided by 1 plus I, that is interest rate. With interest rate, we will press F4 to lock this cell, close the parentheses and raise to power 1, and copy this formula for the next cells. So the present value of individual cash flows will be computed. After that, we will have to calculate the sum of present values. So we will use sum functions and select the present value of cash inflows, that is $634, and after that we will calculate net present value, that is equal to initial investment plus the sum of present value of cash flows, and finally the NPV is $134. We can use present value function of Microsoft Excel. The present value function is equal to PV into rate into NPER into payment into future value into type. PV is the present value, rate is the interest rate, NPER is the number of payments, and PMT is the payments. FV is the future value, and type is the either payment received at the start or end of the period. At this time, the future value and type is irrelevant for us. We will only provide rate, NPER and payments to calculate the present value. So equal to PV, start the parenthesis, rate, that is 10%, NPER is the number of payments, that is 4, and payments $200 on yearly basis. Close the parenthesis, press enter. So the present value is computed. The answer is in negative form. To bring it into positive form, we will press minus sign before the present value and the answer will be positive. That is the present value of cash flows, that is 634, and NPV is equal to initial investment plus the present value function value, that is 634. The answer is 134. It means if we calculate the present value by using manual way or by using present value function, the answer will remain same. Next, we will use the NPV function. The NPV is equal to NPV into rate into value 1, 2 and so on. All the values will be provided. So equal to NPV, start the parenthesis, rate, that is 10%, and comma all the values, and press enter. Surprisingly, our answer is incorrect. NPV can be used to calculate the present values if the cash flows are different. NPV function cannot be used to compute the net present value of this product. So if we use this NPV function to calculate the present value, equal to NPV, start the parenthesis, rate that is 10%, comma, and select all the cash flows and press enter. So the present value of this project will be computed. To compute the NPV, we will provide cash flows plus NPV into rate into the values, and the NPV is computed. So present value function can be used if the cash flows remain the same throughout the project, whereas NPV function can be used when the cash flows change during the life of the project. And last function is Xnpv. Xnpv is equal to Xnpv into rate into values into dates. It equal to Xnpv, start the parenthesis, rate that is 10%, and then the values including the initial investment, comma, and dates. Close the parenthesis, press enter. So the NPV will be computed. So Xnpv is the function that can compute the net present value of a cash flows by considering dates. The present value can be used only to calculate the present value if the cash flows remain the same. If the cash flows are different, then we need to use NPV function, as NPV function considers all values. But NPV assumes that the cash flow should be received after a regular intervals. If this interval is not same, then we cannot use NPV function. Then we will have to shift on Xnpv function. Xnpv function can be used to compute the present value of any type of cash flows, and if the interval between the cash flows is also irregular, Xnpv will provide accurate answers. That's all for the today's video. If you have any question related to finance or financial modeling, you can contact us. We will provide you best answers. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.